In today's video, me and my client success manager, Michael, will be going over the hard truths, the deep secret about traditional strength training. How does it affect your lower back? And most importantly, at the end, we'll show you a template program of how we structure our strength training day for our one-on-one coaching client. Over the past 4 years, we've helped over more than 400 plus clients to get out of their lower back pain and get them back to activity they used to love: golfing, running, walking, deadlifting, hiking, and sometimes super basic, just picking up your kid or picking up your dog. Now let's get into the video.
I mean, it's important on a couple different notes. Number one, obviously, weightlifting is going to put you quickly in the fight or flight. Fight or flight most likely is going to put you right into your asymmetrical pattern, right? So now you're overloading a body that is going to make that pattern get worse quicker. It's almost like running. Like if you have a pattern in you, as you're doing so much of it, on this end, you're now the weight itself, the resistance is so much harder. And I think sometimes people just can't handle maybe the ego. You know, it's 70 pounds or 80 pounds. Now I want to go 90 pounds. And they just, more is better. It almost produces a more is better routine. And I think that's going to be worse in the long run, where you're aware of these resets that we do. And then the resets become the patterns. I think they're more likely to take it on as, I don't want to say gentler, but more, focused on what they need to be feeling, right? I mean, weightlifting should be, if you're looking to build muscle, should be focused on being able to get that muscle. That muscle's huge. Like, for instance, if you're a right dominant human being where your right shoulder down and your right hip is up, you're going to be really tight on the right hand side here, right? So that lat is going to be tight. That QL is going to be tight. So, if we're going to do a lat pull down, let's get a 45-degree bench. Let's turn ourselves away from that tight side and expand that side and then grab onto something. And now you'd have not only an expanded side, but you're hitting the part of the muscle that's usually not ever long. It's always tight. So you're hitting it tight all the time, right? So it will be nice to actually, number one, create that expansion you need. But number two, let me hit that lat on the line that never gets hit on. Like, tension is going to be the key to building, right? So you want to hit the muscle tension at all phases, not just a shortened phase or a lengthened phase. And I think with our asymmetries, what happens is we tend to just hit a small portion of the fiber itself versus the whole fiber. So if you can imagine putting tension along that whole fiber, now it's becoming not only something that's going to be hypertrophic, but it's also going to be something that sets the pattern that we've been trying to do anyway. That
Yeah,
makes sense. I don't know if that,
yeah, absolutely. And also, like, I think for maybe other people who are watching or listening to this video right now, get into this flight or flight isn't bad, but you got to have the ability to get back to neutral and get back to this pretty calm stage. Now, I think one of the best athletes on this planet Earth, they have the ability to get into this flight or flight, but also they have the ability to quickly come down, like really, really calm down their body, calm down their nervous system, and also get back to this pretty calm stage at a recovery as well. So now, and a lot of people, they have back pain or shoulder pain or their neck pain, where they're like just chronic pain. They don't have the ability to get back to this calm stage. And I think that's a problem for a lot of people. We kind of like stuck in this fight or flight stage because after working out, you just go on your life, just go to your work, go to your desk job, right? And then you never actually recover. You never actually like let your body give your body a chance to reset and calm down after the workout. So that's going to be a problem for a lot of you guys long term.
yeah, I mean, you see it with resets. Like, if you got somebody that has pain, most likely if you put them in a position with constraints, that's on the ground, no weights, feet on the wall, pillow here, pillow there, forcing you to be in a position, they still have a hard time keeping their neck off, right? Or their lower back off. Now put them in weight room, where the stakes are higher, when you're having a hard time just relaxing into that position and staying with the neck off by turning on a glute max minimally. Now, can you imagine globally trying to turn on all of these muscles? You're just going to go right back. And again, fight or flight's not bad. It's not wrong, but there are still ways now to be smarter about how we approach the weight training. Like, the reason they are recognizing what is the perfect way to do a pattern or like a lat pull down or a chest press, is because they measure your mobility before and after, right? So if you have 75 degrees of IR and then go do a butched up chest press, which is pretty much a regular bench press at this point, right? You come back to that table, you have lost probably half of what you had, right? And that's a problem. You know, if you go from 75 degrees to 40 degrees from one exercise, then can you imagine how, if you just did the exercises over and over and over, you're going to be out of room. So you got to be aware of how to do them too. And I think if you do exercises correctly in a rotational manner, remember the muscles are meant to be rotated. We don't. We're two-dimensional. All of our exercises become two-dimensional. If we can then put the exercises into the three-dimensional frame, then I believe, honestly, even if you go into a little bit of fight or flight, you're still keeping the mobility because you're working in that rotational manner.
Yeah. I mean, like you got to make your body stronger within the genuine range of motion that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you can't push your body out of that genuine range and trying to push everything through compensation or orientation. Now that way you're probably going to lock yourself up and you don't have the routine and stability to get out of it. I mean, over a long period of time, this is where your pain come from. So
I'll be honest with what I do here, and I find it, I've been doing it for the last probably 2.5 years, is I'll do a reset before the exercise. So if I want to do a squat, first of all, I'm doing the squats in a smart manner. You know, if I got somebody that's extended, there's no reason to put a bar on their back to extend them more. So you got to see where, you got to be able to see where they're coming from. If they're extended or they have a hard time getting back to their heels, right? I want to place them in the exercise that is going to bring more of that along versus something that puts me farther end of the spectrum where I'm already at. So for my squats, what I do is I'll wall reach them. I'll make them do a wall reach. I have a wall sitting right here. They know they have to go over. They have to get their exhale. They got to tuck their pelvis under. They got to get their lower back in. They got to know they got to get the shoulder blades out. They got to stay stacked, and they know they got to be on their heels, right? They do 10 breaths there, and then I'll put them into a squat if they're ready. If not, it's a Zercher all day. You know, they start off Zercher. I have a pendulum squat that really does a nice job of keeping them on their heels. But I have these bars that have the weight out in front and they got handles here. So it is just literally, it's, hey, can I keep, I'm pushing the handle out to keep my ribs down and back as I squat, right? So that's what I'm doing versus 60 degrees. If you don't have any IR, you're going here, right? If I can get this thing as I'm going down and keep my heels, I can push this away almost like I'm trying to separate this and this. That's going to keep me flat, but I can still push into it without it tipping upward. So reset with the right tools, you could squat the rest of your life and be fine. And it actually, because you're squatting correctly, now the pattern's starting to become stronger, right? It's not, hey, I got to reset. Like everything turns into that pattern. Deadlift. I do, you know, I have my own machine, but you could do a table hinge, right? Table hinge, you put a, if you're having a hard time keeping your lower back or upper back, put a stick on there to make sure that you're just moving through your hips, right? Do the reset and then start off with a goblet deadlift. I mean, there's progressions no matter what, but you know, like we get them into a trap bar deadlift pretty quickly once you do this. So, but that's every day. We don't skip on that. Single leg deadlift day, they're in with one leg, pulling themselves over, twisting their chest over, holding the kettlebell in the opposite hand, and they're breathing 10 times to open space up. Then I put them into a single leg staggered deadlift, you know, and that it just turns up. It's just perfect. You know, it looks perfect. It feels perfect. And it's just getting more of what we want with weight now. Like eventually this has to, you know, you can't be on the ground with all these constraints. You got to start to stand up and do these patterns. And then you got to start to do physical things in this manner, right? So that's the progression of this. Can I go from not being able to turn it on at all to be able to lift with it in the right spot, whether it be stacked position or whether it be me opening up genuine IR and not moving through my lower back? That has to happen. I don't know why it's not more everywhere. You know, it's like I see, again, we can go on these places, but it's like you could see, like I know, you know, I see it every day. Like I could see it squatting a hinge right now and be like, wow, no IR, no ER, no, you know, you just see it and it hurts. It hurts me to
yeah,
watch it because I'm
yeah. I mean, like I think for most of the people, So I think for general population, they're not at the gym trying to, figure out what their genuine range of motions are, right? They're
Mhm.
trying to, I want to go to the gym, I want to get stronger, and then I want to be back. So
Mhm.
that's all what they can think about. And what they're gonna think differently is when they got hurt first place. So whenever they got hurt, oh, they try to figure out, oh, how did I get hurt? Right? Oh, this pain actually didn't go away for
Mhm.
3 months. And then like when it lives again, and then I'll think about how can I do it differently. So I think people will have to learn from their mistake. And but I think that I mean that's the best part of what we're doing as well, because once people get into the program, we educate them how we should be moving differently, how we should be training differently at the gym. And once they kind of get out of it, they know how they should be training at the gym themselves as well. So
I truly believe people want to do better by themselves.
yeah.
I do. I want to at least choose that. And I'm not saying that's overall what it is, but I think the reason why we do what we do is because you can have both. We realize for the first time you can go into the gym, but I think people try, man. They go in and they're either misled by, hey, this is the amount of weight. I need to do it this fast. I need to be beaten to a pulp, right? That's not, I guess it's sexy and it sells, but on the other hand, what does it wind up doing? Then 2 weeks later, their lower back goes. So that's a 3 week break, right? If you're younger, you might be able to get back in 3 days. If you're a little bit older, you're not getting back for 2 weeks, right? And then you finally feel enough that you can go, and then you go back to the gym, and then a week later it happens again. And the pattern is a pattern. Patterns are patterns for a reason. It's not going to change. It's insanity that we just keep thinking doing the same thing is going to render a different decision. It doesn't do that, right? So then after a while, I believe, I mean, this is my own theory, is that it's kind of gets put in your subconscious. Like every time we go to this place, we wind up
It
not
is.
getting out of bed, or there's a lot of like, I think it sees that and it recognizes that and it's saying, okay, that's not a safe place for me. Because that's how the brain works. It's like the overly, protective mother or father. It says, no, 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 no. That's not safe. And that's what it does. It works that way. So therefore, if you keep putting I'm getting hurt, going back, getting hurt into it, that's as bad as the pattern that's in it to start, right? So why don't, if we get confidence in the resets and then take those resets and make those things become the exercises, it's going to be better for the body, going to be better for the joint, it's going to be better for the brain to say, hey, I can get behind this, right? This is good for me. And I
Yeah.
think we need that in this industry, that perspective overall, because I just don't think it's it's not, we're in a place where I get it. You got to sell, but therefore you can't sell your soul either by just saying, hey, I want clicks or I want this. Like, you can't mislead people. And then how many people do we lose every year that try it and then that happens to them? And then before you know it, they're back on the couch eating, and then they're putting Ozempic in them because that's the only way they know how, and that's where it's kind of perplexing. It's frustrating. And again, it's not everybody, but I'm saying I feel like the industry has gone more towards social media sell, and I get it. People want instant gratification. They want pain avoidance. They want instant gratification. That's the world right now. But I'm hoping that there's enough people that want to take the journey and do it themselves and not just rely on a drug or a needle, because who the hell knows what that stuff's going to render.
Michael, do you want to go over like the 3 day split? So show a little bit of that and like basically tell Greg like why we're doing this, like why this exercise is a lot better compared to like the traditional gym exercises that we've been doing.
All right. So I break it up into, and here's where a lot of people don't understand. Like, people break this stuff up into chest day, right? And chest day is mostly shoulder day. I mean, when it all comes down to it, if you look at the numbers of what's straining versus what's not, like, your shoulders are taking a beating on anterior, on a chest day. Almost sometimes if you lift the wrong way, more than the chest. And then we come back with a shoulder day the next day, and then we wonder why we can't lift our arms and our shoulders hurt, right? So I break this up into an anterior and a posterior day. What does that mean? Anterior is anything from the mid delt, anterior delt, the three pecs, right? So it's kind of if I cut my body in half and I wanted to lift the front, anterior. That's why I call it anterior upper. But,
Okay.
you know, we start with an incline press. Do you want me to go through these, Alvin, or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the incline press here. I want to get an incline bench, probably about 30 to 45 degrees. I don't want it too steep. Then as I'm sitting back, I want to dig my, I need to watch my shoulder blades to move. So in this case, I'm going 1-1. I'm alternating. I'm keeping one reached, bringing one up, reaching the other, pulling the other one up, and then going a double. What I want you to do is feel. So here's your dumbbell press, right? And it looks, you know, it's hitting what it needs to hit. There's going to be some upper pec and anterior delt here, so you're not going to be able to just do one or the other. But what the reach does, right? So if you look at my left arm, I'm reaching, so I'm pushing my sternum to the right. There's your rotation, right? So I'm working within rotation here. Okay, but I also know that this could be some anterior delt and some pec. So I'm kind of putting everything on the anterior side, and this is where I would start. And then I'm going to follow that up with something like, so what people don't understand is when you're doing chest, for the most part, here to here, yes, you're hitting the pec. But once you get to here, and if you don't come across, and I mean resistance has to come across, not dumbbell. The dumbbell's resistance is always going to be down. If you're not coming across, you're not hitting that final piece, which is the inside of the chest. So you got to be able to specifically use the right tools to be able to finish that off, because at 60, your anterior delt's going to take over, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just think the way we look at it sometimes is, oh, well, bench press is just chest. Well, it's not. It's from here to here. If you don't come across, these don't have any leverage to pull. You're not coming across. They have no more leverage. It's going to go to your anterior delt. So it's got to be thought in that process that you are hitting shoulders that day versus the next day doing another 3-7 exercises of shoulders. So I follow it up with something that's around as a good superset, and it gets that shortened position of the pecs. So right here, you'll notice that the one cable that I'm pressing with is higher. The other one that I'm holding and keeping me in place is lower. My right foot is back. I'm turned into the side I'm pressing with a little bit. I'm trying to keep that cable in line with my elbow so it doesn't go over top. I'm bringing it close to the rib cage and then inward. Middle pec, I'm just going to put them more in the middle section. I'm holding with the left. I'm turning into the right-hand side, upright a little bit. I'm going to be by the rib cage, and then I'm going to bring it in towards the other hand. So I'm pressing it and then going inward with it. I'm turned into that side a bit, 30 degrees or so, turned into that side. And then if I want to hit the upper pec, I want to make sure that the side I'm pressing with is lower. The side that I'm holding is higher. You can pick any of these two to superset with an incline or whatever you want to do. This is more of a superset. You're hitting the shortened position here, making sure that you're hitting the pec all the way through. You're getting that shortened length of the pec. So here you'll notice I'm going upward underneath the chin, keeping it. So now you're looking at really diving into what do you want to build? You know, I mean, you could start to break this down into finishing move of it, but you're finishing the movement of the pec. So you're keeping it, you're hitting it at a lengthening, you're hitting it at a shortened, so you're going to get more hypertrophy. But on top of it, you're going to keep your mobility because you're hitting it. You're not just hitting it at a shortened position only over and over. You're hitting it at all the positions. So that's an important understanding of it here. Close to the rib. So then this would be a shoulder with the shoulder press. Like people go over their head all the time, and all they're really doing is stealing it from their lower back. Like if you don't have shoulder flexion, and most people that you put on a table don't have this shoulder flexion genuinely. So anything here most likely is just going to wrap you up and bound you up even more than you already are. So if you're going to work from that, why would you not work from the flexion that you have? Right. So if I want to hit more anterior shoulder at this point without using my lower back or tightening my shoulder in general, I'm going to pick this is the landmine shoulder press. I'm in 99 position. Bar. You can have a landmine attachment. You can put it in a corner with a towel so that it stays. But what it does is this allows us to work within the ranges of shoulder flexion that we have. You notice we're coming out in front. We're going to try to get that shoulder blade around. My right knee's down as I'm pushing with my right shoulder, and I'm reaching with the opposite. All right, so that's on your anterior day. Still. All right, and then you can start to even, like I like to start, for me, if I'm going to squat that day, I know it's going to compress me a little bit. So I'll prime it, I'll start the squat, and then I will come back to more exercises that are reset like, right? So now you're kind of getting your main focus out of the way. You want to go hard at squat, round. I'm still going to prime you, but then I'm going to bring it back and teach you some things that will kind of reset the body a little bit. So you got like, I'm not going to go through all this. We're not going to have time, but this is just an offset push-up. All right, so what is it doing? It's turning my sternum, which I'm doing in every exercise anyway. So that rotation is still there. It's still evident. We're just working on a rotational basis. All right. So if I have my left hand up on something and my right hand's reaching a little more, very similar to everything you saw me do earlier, I'm opening up space, my left back chest wall and my right chest wall. And then if I vice versa, I do it the other way. So now these become a little bit more resetty, you know, to where you're still getting some work done, but you're also trying to gain back, even if you did lose a little bit of that range of motion through that heavy exercise. This is what it does, you know, so.
This is the tricep.
Do a tricep extension. I think these are pretty basic. There's a couple resetty ones that I really like, that I would probably put in. But now let's look at posterior. So when I talk about posterior, right, I hit the mid delt on the front part. You can hit it in any part. I just feel like I have more stuff to the back. So barn mid delt, the way I'm doing it is from butt, and here I'll show you. I might as well show you that one. That's probably more important.
But mid delt, we're going to get a low cable system, place it behind us and in line with our left glute. We're going to get shoulder apart with our feet, bend our knees. We're going to exhale our lower ribs down, tuck our pelvis under a little bit to keep stacked. Then I'm going to go from left glute to front of my left shoulder. So a slight movement from back to front. Okay, so touching.
So now I've been able to hit, if you can see, from the mid delt, the front delt, and all three of my pecs, the whole front of my body was hit. Okay, and you can do biceps or triceps. I tended to go to the back with the triceps, but if you really wanted to just kind of say, draw a line down the middle, this day I'm doing all of this, front, anterior. Okay, posterior day, yeah, I mean, you're going to do a pull down. Everybody loves to do a pull down, so throw a pull down in there, right? But understand,
any lat pull down machine will get a little lat, but it'll mostly get teres. A lot of people don't realize it's a teres movement. So what I want to do is
you guys can't hear.
that my feet are in the ground and my pelvis is tucked under, so I'm not using my lower back, making sure my arms go up the whole distance. I'm controlling it on the way up, and I can pull down as fast as I'd like, but I want full range of motion pulling down.
Now the machines that I have are rotational in nature, which helps get what you want. But most of the time, one things you're going to see in a gym, you're going to hit a lot of teres there. Okay. You're not going to hit as much lat as, I mean, it's still a lat pull down, but I mean, there's other ways to get the lat. Like, you know, for instance, this one.
This is the lower lat row. I'm going to get a band or a pulley system that is slightly above my.
So this is the lower lat pull, right? I'm just going to talk you through because somehow my speaker's not working, and so I'm keeping my headset on. I'm getting left abs, right? We know we need to turn on left abs. I'm opening up my right side. This is going to hit my lower lat. It's going to reset me at the same point. It's going to hit a muscle that's never hit in that spot. Okay. So this is back. I'm thinking lower lat here, right? Lower lat and upper pec kind of are the same motion. Right, I'm going to go to the other side. Some people may not need it on both sides, but eventually, once you kind of do yourself out, now you're starting to hit specific exercises to hit specific muscles. You're really focusing on, you know, and that's what it's about. If you're lifting to build muscle, you might as well try to target what you need and sense it. And I think going through our course gets you to sense your body a little more, which then therefore transfers to the exercise portions of stuff.
Okay.
So if you want to do a mid-lat row, it's just going to look what we do on the resets, right? I'm going to reach my right arm farther than my left arm. I'm going to turn my sternum to the left, which is what we want to do on a lot of people. And then I want to make sure that I'm on the left side by compressing my left abs. And then I'm going to pull. Okay? Now I'm putting myself in a position that doesn't usually go in when I lift, but it's going along the lines of what we do in the reset. So it just becomes exactly what we do in the resets, but now we're adding resistance. You got to be ready for that resistance, though. But once you are, you're good to go. So then we got mid rhomboids. We got a low pull. I don't even know what this is. So this would be me again.
reaching with my right arm. Right now, I'm going to hit more of that upper lat. Right? It's all about angles too, right? You have 3 lats, you got 3 pecs if you look along those ways, right? The upper pec goes with the lower lat, the middle pec, middle lat. Lower pec, upper lat. So you're kind of just doing the opposite thing, but you got to put yourself in your body position in the right spot. If you can't get left, right? If you have a problem getting left, you're never going to do it within an exercise until you pattern it in. And then even when you do the exercise, you want to make sure that you're using constraints to push you in a spot you don't want to be in, or we're going to repattern you out of it. So there's ways to still get around all this, right? You got the barn bicep curl, that's fine. But we did the intro to squat, but on a leg day, say I want to hinge. Right? What am I doing here? I'm doing have you done this yet, Greg? A table hinge?
No.
Right? You're going to eventually get to this, but watch. You'll see this line from here to here. People move through this line when they hinge. That's what they do. The lower back gets involved, the upper back gets involved. They're not moving through their hips. So I want to make sure that they can move through their hips and open up some space back there, which is IR, so that they can get into this position genuinely. There's a lot of ways to get into this position. This is the right one, right? So I'll start you off here, and then we'll, from there, that's just a reset to get the body thinking that way. And then I'm just going to get a couple dumbbells, and we're going to use a wall to kind of make sure that I'm, I may, if you're really having a hard time holding it today, I had a couple people use a stick at first.
Okay.
But there's your deadlift. That's a hinge, right? It's a reset followed by a hinge, so it's nice to reset. Then we got a single leg squat. Well, I'll end with these two. I think we're going over. But stacking, right? Stacking is 75% of the problem, right? So you're going to see in a single leg, everybody wants to go forward. Their center of mass is forward. So I'm going to use something. Zercher's great for this, right? I use the Zercher here. But I want to get stacked first. And I want to teach my body to be able to move with a stacked position. So I'm just going to pick up my knee for an inch. And it could be for 2 breaths, right? Now it's about, can I exhale, pause. And now you see me shaking. I might not have gotten 2 breaths in.
Right.
Right. So, but I'm patterning that guy. Now I'm pulling myself forward. So I keep myself back. You see the lines are keeping me back. And now I have a little help. Right. And I'm building that quad. That quad's building because I'm hitting it differently anyway. There needs to be no weight on that. Right. You want to build muscle. You want to use every small little intricacy that gets you better. Right. So no weight is still going to build you. And then I'll go to 5 pounds and I'll go to 10 pounds. I want to enjoy that whole journey up. I don't want to go from 0 to 100 pounds, lose all of that, the gains that I can make in between, and then do it wrong because I went from 0 to 100 pounds and I didn't pattern it right.
Right.
You got your single leg deadlift, right? What is it? Hips got to come over. I'm going to do a single leg hip capsule stretch first. I didn't put that in here, but I usually put that first. Now I got a kettlebell in my opposite hand. You see the hip. I got to get over to the left side, which most of us have a hard time doing, is getting over there. Then I want to get within the hip. So that chest turn is going to push that hip back. Now you got a single leg deadlift for weight. All right. So the reset becomes the exercise. But again, it's not easy to do it. Like, you have to be able to build up to that and take the time to have that pattern somewhat put in your body before you do it. Because as soon as you add weight, it's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to be fight or flightish. But there's a way to still go in a fight or flight and still be able to maintain what you have, right? Remember, you're in fight or flight in one pattern anyway. So who's to say that we can't be in fight or flight? But the problem is we got to be able to pattern that first.
Also, like, one more thing I want to point out too. Now, a lot of the exercise Michael didn't really use a heavy weight, but more so on a body weight first. Now, here's the thing: if you can't do everything with your body weight, you're not ready for heavyweight training at all.
Right. Exactly.
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's baby steps. And to be honest with you, again, if you have no weight and you're hitting a quad like you did against the wall, you're getting everything you need out of that exercise. That's all your body can, right? So you're going to build that. Right. Then you're going to put a 5 pound weight on it. It's going to build again, and a 10 pound weight build again. Like, you don't want to take,
You want to be
It's like
able to
stacking
build.
bricks. You're
Yeah,
stacking
man.
bricks. Yeah.
You're gonna, in the end, it's no, people just want to go from here to here. Why? Why not enjoy all of those gains up to that point? Right.
Right.
And
Exactly.
do it, and you're gonna teach it the right way on top of it.
Right.
Like
Okay.
you're patterning it along the way for
Sure.
what it can handle.
Right. Oh, I appreciate it. That all makes sense. So